Thunk. Those foreclosure papers slapped my quartz island at 6:15 a.m. like a judge slamming the gavel on my entire life. Eleanor Vance, self-appointed queen of Willow Creek Estates in Colorado's foothills, figured $3,000 in fines over my rescue dog Finn's anxiety barking would finally evict the problem, single woman who dared bring imperfection into her sterile paradise. She had no idea she'd just handed me the shovel to bury her whole empire 6 feet under her own perfectly edged lawns. 8 months earlier I'd rolled into Willow Creek thinking I'd found peace after a brutal divorce. New remote software gig, fresh start, and Finn, the black lab mix I pulled from a shelter where he'd shake every time keys jingled. The development looked like a postcard, 47 identical slate roof McMansions, for $125,000 each, HOA dues $325 a month promising elevated living. What they didn't advertise was Eleanor Vance, 55, retired bank VP turned full-time clipboard dictator, who spent her days measuring grass blades with a laser level and walking her 2 poodles Duchess and Prince like they were show dogs auditioning for Westminster. First knock came at 7:02 p.m. sharp. Finn had barked maybe 18 minutes while I grabbed milk. Eleanor stood on my porch in a pastel cardigan that probably cost more than my car payment, perfume thick enough to gag a horse. "Some of us worked hard to protect property values here, Megan dear," she said, sliding the written warning across like it was holy scripture. "Noise violations start at 10 decibels over ambient. We all make sacrifices." Her thin smile never reached her eyes. I tried reason. "He's a rescue with separation anxiety. Trainer says he's improving fast." "Rules are rules," she cooed, tapping her pen. "The covenants don't make exceptions for emotional support animals." Week 1, warning. Week 2, thunderstorm, Finn lost it, second violation. Week 3, $750 fine. By the time the total hit $3,000, I was living on coffee and spite, scrolling HOA bylaws at 2 a.m. while Finn whimpered at my feet. The neighborhood felt like North Korea with better landscaping. Retired firefighter Tom next door would wave apologetically over the fence. Single mom Lisa across the street hid her kid's trampoline in the garage after Eleanor declared it a visual pollutant. There was even a secret group chat called Creek Resistance that pinged every time Eleanor's white Mercedes cruised the cul-de-sac. What Eleanor didn't know, what nobody knew, was that 3 months earlier my grandfather had passed. Old wildcatter who'd bought mineral rights on half of Weld County back when natural gas was worthless. The lawyers called last Tuesday. "Megan, those leases just hit $2.35 million with the new fracking tech. Cash available in 30 days. I stared at Finn chasing his tail in the backyard and laughed until I cried. Eleanor was about to learn the hard way that bullies in pastel cardigans always underestimate quiet women with spreadsheets. The escalation was surgical. First she mounted professional sound monitors on her fence aimed straight at my yard. Then city code enforcement showed up claiming complaints of a commercial kennel. The officer took one look at Finn licking his hand and muttered, "This is the 3rd bogus call from that address this month." Eleanor's neighborhood Facebook posts grew unhinged. Certain residents refused to respect community standards. Translation: single women with rescue dogs who won't bow. But I'd been busy. My software brain mapped every fine she'd issued in 3 years, 214 complaints, 68% against single women, elderly folks, or families with kids or pets. Garden gnomes? Banned. American flags 2 inches too low. Fined. Rose bushes the wrong shade of pink? Violation. None of it existed in the actual bylaws. I installed legal cameras that just happened to catch Duchess and Prince turning into furry air raid sirens every Thursday when Eleanor left for Bridge Club. 47 minutes of non-stop yapping. Recorded, time-stamped, delicious. Then the financial audit request. Colorado law says they must hand it over in 30 days. When the books arrived, I almost hugged the courier. $48,000 in administrative fees vanished. Landscaping contract? $9,200 a month, no bids, paid to Vance Landscaping, Eleanor's brother-in-law. Pattern so obvious a toddler could see it. I quietly bought subsurface mineral rights from 17 neighbors for $5,000 each, money they never knew they had sitting under their lawns. By week's end I controlled access under 32 of the 47 lots. Foreclosure notice day arrived. 60 days or lose the house. Eleanor's husband Rick, city planning commissioner, showed up that night with a $460,000 check and an NDA. Just make this go away quietly, he said, sweating through his polo. I smiled, phone recording in my pocket. Tell your wife I'll think about it. The monthly HOA meeting became the reckoning. Community center packed, news van outside because my journalist buddy had tipped them off. Eleanor strutted in wearing new diamond studs, probably bought with missing dues, gavel in hand. We are here to vote on the removal of a resident who threatens our community harmony. I stood up, Finn at my side, calm as still water. Before we vote, Eleanor, let's talk about the $48,000 you can't account for, or the emails where you and your nephew discuss accelerating acquisition of my property. I projected the screenshots. Gasps rippled. Or the fact that I bought every common area this morning, the parks, the playgrounds, the undeveloped land. All mine. Legal, filed, done. Her face went the color of old drywall. That's impossible. Actually, I said, holding up the deeds, mineral rights trump surface rights in Colorado. I own what's under your house, under your pool, under your perfect rose bushes. I could lease drilling rights tomorrow and turn Willow Creek into an industrial site. But I won't. I let the silence stretch. Instead, I'm converting every common acre into Willow Creek Rescue Sanctuary, off-leash paradise for 50 dogs at a time, training programs, therapy sessions. The same dogs you tried to ban. And you, Eleanor, just got court-ordered 200 community service hours cleaning up after them starting next week. The room erupted. Neighbors who'd been terrified for years stood up one by one sharing horror stories. Police walked in right on cue with the financial crimes detective who'd been waiting for my evidence package. Handcuffs clicked around Eleanor's wrists while her stilettos scraped the floor in panic. Duchess and Prince howled from the parking lot like they finally understood karma. 6 months later, Willow Creek looks nothing like the brochure. The sterile lawns are gone. 50 rescue dogs run free where Eleanor once measured grass. Finn leads the pack, anxiety a distant memory, tail wagging so hard it sounds like applause. The HOA dissolved by unanimous vote. We're now a resident cooperative where dues actually fix fences instead of funding someone's brother-in-law. Property values? Up 23%. Turns out people love living somewhere dogs are welcome and tyrants aren't. Eleanor? 3 years probation, restitution, and every Saturday she shows up in coveralls scooping poop while 50 happy dogs circle her like she's the main attraction at a comedy show. The first time Finn trotted over and licked her hand, I thought she might faint. She still mutters rules are rules under her breath, but nobody listens anymore. So here's the question that keeps the whole neighborhood arguing over backyard fences. True or false, the real power abuser was the HOA president, just enforcing the rules for the greater good, or was she the one who finally got exactly the karma she spent years dishing out to everyone else? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. And if you're living under your own neighborhood dictator, right now maybe it's time to check who really owns what's under the dirt. See you in the comments, friends.